We're here. We're doing it. Welcome to Plus One EXP. You've made it to the place of the internet where we are. I'm Sarah. I'm your real life stepdad and a cult leader here at Plus One EXP. Plus One is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. The dream and hope here at Plus One is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We are here to play our first session, our world building session of a game that just released for its Kickstarter, correct? Or is it on BackerKick?
Kickstarter. Yeah.
Kickstarter. Perfect. It's Defy the Gods. I'm too excited, so we got to get through it. You now know who I am. I'm joined by two people that I see regularly and enjoy, but we also have Chrys, the designer of Defy the Gods. Chrys, go ahead. Can you just do a quick intro of who you are, where people can find you, and then we'll talk about the other guys.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Chrys Sellers. My brand is Hectic Electron Games, and it's my first game was Raccoon Sky Pirates. You can find me at hecticelectron.com or on social media at Hectic Electron everywhere, and except not X. And then, so I'm kickstarting Defy the Gods, a queer sword and sorcery adventure romance set in fantasy ancient Mesopotamia. And I think you'll love it.
Yeah, awesome. There, we do have a link down in the bottom corner where you can go check out the Kickstarter, ttrpg.link /DefyTheGods. With that, I guess it is time to introduce the rest of the Plus One crew that is with us right now. We'll go ahead and start with Richard. Richard, tell the people what you're about, dog.
Hey, I'm Richard. I am the operations manager at Plus One EXP, and I am also the founder of Artwork Studio and the creator of Sherwood and Moodland on Roseville Beach, and a huge fan of my friend Chrys Sellers. So
I'm a huge fan of Richard. So.
Whoa!
Someone showed up ready.
Yeah, my goodness, amazing.
It's a lucky accident.
Yeah. Awesome.
And last but not least, our real stream daddy with the most fantastic beard. It's Tony.
Hi. I am. Sorry, Miro just asked me for a password, which it's never done before, and I feel like it's gonna really want now in a second. But my name is Teddy Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP. And I'm super excited to be playing. Folks may have noticed we don't stream a ton lately. We are hoping to get that going back with a lot of our own projects. We've been super focused on Zine.Club and a lot of other things, but for our good friends and games we're really excited about, we still love to be able to get together and play with folks we really want to support. So our last time we did A Land Once Magic with Vedita Violetti and More Blueberries. If you haven't seen that yet, go back and watch it. But I reached out to Chrys and said, we would love to do an actual play, just because I have been excited about this game since Chrys first told me about it like a year-ish ago plus, and started posting out about it. But I will say, like, even more so, like, watching some of the final art pieces, getting to look at the team that's gathered up, like hearing other people like Mark Major and other folks who have played it at conventions, hearing their experiences of play have gotten me even more excited about it. So I'm super thrilled to be able to sit down and play. You want to support us, go check out RPGZine.Club, where every month we put out a couple different games from other great emerging creators too. You can find that at RPGZine.Club. That's it.
Hell yeah. I'm ready to punch gods with my hands. Can we, or at least
awesome.
Sit in that energy. Chrys, can you begin our adventuring world building process?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I know, Sarah, you want to be the Revenant.
Yes.
And Richard, you want to be the Sailor. Awesome. And Tony.
So the funny thing about Sarah and I is that we have very similar play preferences, and I really should have asked Sarah earlier in the day What are you planning on taking? Will you do me a favor? Not the Sailor, not the Revenant. Can you run me through, I believe, the 4 other
Yes.
class options real quick?
Yes. So, right, the Sailor is the mischievous trickster flirt. The Revenant is the returnee from the underworld, not the person they used to be, figuring out who they are now. You didn't ask about those. The Sword is a violent, big-hearted, obstinate person. They have a move where if you're not in combat and there's somebody within arm's reach and they're a mortal human, you can just kill them without rolling. That's always been interesting. The Sorcerer is a scholar of the chaotic art, and their body is always changing. To cast spells, they don't really know what spell they're going to cast. You roll a bunch of dice and look for patterns in the dice.
That was super interesting.
Like what matches, and if nothing matches, you're in trouble. The vessel is in a devoted relationship with an exiled god, or a god in disfavor, not part of the ruling pantheon, and it's really a submissive relationship, and they leverage their wounds to perform miracles. And the last one is the wolfling. Yes, a human being raised by animals who doesn't really belong in either world, the wild world or the civilized world, and is finding out more about civilization.
Awesome. I think, and let's talk about it a little bit, even though it's my choice, obviously. Ultimately, I am most drawn, I think, of the ones that remain to Sorcerer because of the interesting mechanical aspect of it. But the what's the one that's pledged to the god? That's the narrative.
The Vessel.
The Vessel is the one that probably is most narratively interesting to me. I also think it's fun to play that with the Revenant and play also too, because I think that's bringing in a strong vibe. But does anybody have, like, do we have the other fun thing about the Sorcerer? The Sorcerer is, the playbook is based on like essentially like the villain tropes historically, right? Like
yeah, exactly, right.
Oh,
yeah,
it's also interesting. Chris, why do you got to make so many good things for me to pick from? Sarah, Richard, do y'all have thoughts on kind of what elements you'd like to bring into play from those 2 playbooks, the Vessel or the Sorcerer? Or chat if you got thoughts.
Yeah, chat can tell us how they feel about the things.
Yeah, I trust chat.
Here's the thing.
I don't trust me.
I was really hoping it would be like I trust chat, and then Richard typing in chat what
Richard hoped to see and manifest into the game. I think I'm a very similar mindset as you, Tony, of like the reason to do either or.
I think here's the other thing, Chris, you're at this table also too. Is there one of those, like, I know that I think like Goblets and Gays have done an actual play. There's a couple other ones. Is there something you're really hoping people get a chance to see? Because that's the other thing.
Like, I think those have all been in the recent APs
okay.
I've done. Yeah.
So we don't have any pressure there. And chat is not immediately hopping in. Go ahead.
I'm leaning towards the Vessel for you.
Okay, that's fine. I think
you will have the most fun with that.
I think I'll be able to
interesting things.
Yeah, I'll bring the most narratively, I think, with the Vessel. Sorcerer, I think sounds super fun though.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. That sounds good. Okay.
Excellent.
And so let's see. So what usually comes next is you pick out the different things in your list of your pick lists of what sings to you for what they look like, what their name is, what their gender is, and that's always really fun. And then we would introduce the characters and answer relationship questions, and then build the world.
Okay.
Cool. So if you want to, if there's any questions you have about the character sheet,
Yeah, I'm typing through really quick, because I just really quickly I want to call out the prompts that you already have. that exists. Like, describe your gender. The idea of my gender being an eclipsed sun is so fucking powerful. Like, I just think that's so, like, it immediately just, there's an energy about that is really fun and grounding in a way that, like, I have not experienced in a game before. And so
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
lovely.
I think that's so fucking cool.
You know, The Revenant was the last playbook I wrote, and I hadn't planned to write, and I was writing it, and as I'm writing it, you know, this character who's not who they were in their previous life and not who they were when they were dead, and all this power of potential. I'm like, am I trans? I think I'm trans.
It's been really beautiful to read your reflections. Like, you just put one out that was a really solid ones on your Substack about all those things that you're going, Chrys. It's been really beautiful to watch you share those pieces.
I'm so glad that you liked that one. That was I was really happy to get that one out.
Yeah. So is that Sarah? Sarah, is that your gender? Is it
100% it is. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding
Is it also your character's gender?
Oh, yes. 100%. I'll be honest. I think that, like, if I was picking, like, my gender from this list, it would be spring flowers. Like, that's
awesome.
That's
awesome.
me. But for Sai, my character, Sai, like the it is definitely Eclipse Sun. I'm going with, I'll just kind of update where I'm at. I'm going with she, her pronouns. Her eyes are twinkling with a private joke. The body is sinuous as smoke, which, again, just like, oh my God. And I'm still working through the list, and I'll make sure to share it in the chat as well once I get it all set up. Richard, what are your vibes so far?
So right now, I'm picking the name Callum. And then my gender is Relentless Shark.
Yes.
I mean, that's my character's gender. Mine is probably actually Gold Coin Tossed in Air, or Ebb and Flow of Tides. But Callum is a relentless gender, is Relentless Shark. With eyes wine dark as the sea, and a hard lean body.
Nice. And what'd you say your pronouns are?
He, him.
Okay. I'll be honest, I have never looked through the playbooks and been like, which of these is my gender? I think I might be ready for that now, you know? I just wasn't ready, like, ever. So, yeah.
I've created a thing that's currently not for me.
yeah, right. Like, oh, wait, Chrys, you're getting too personal about yourself. Yeah.
Tony, talk to me about your vessel.
I think I'm a name last person. Like, I'll be straight up. I'm a name last person. We'll come back to that. I like, even maybe at the end of the session when we get a little bit further into it. But for and I may even hold that for patron right now, given kind of the world building. I may hold on to that, and we'll maybe come back to it at the end. I do love Liege of Secret Tunnels right now. That is enjoyable, and that's the one kind of I'm leaning towards at the moment. But let's come back later. I picked gender as Evening Star. On this list, if I was going to pick which of these is my gender, not my character's gender, would be Cornerstone feels real Tony. Play Jug is pretty solid also too, but Earthen for sure either way. And then I've got Clear and Far-Seeing Eyes, Quick Body, and Secrets Inscribed on Clay Tablets is the accessory I've taken. My outlook, man, I think I've got to go Dancing Alone. Hearkening to otherworldly music feels good also too, but maybe that's just what I'm dancing alone too. It's that otherworldly
exactly
music.
Yeah, totally. What are your pronouns?
Let's just go he, they.
Okay. And maybe Igdama leads of secret tunnels, but you're still.
Yeah, I want to kind of. I want to
Marinating
come
in that.
back to that. Maybe I think also too.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. All right, then we can do relationship questions. They are written on the sheet as a question to you, but you can put it out to the group who wants to answer it. You know, who wants to be that person. I mean, you can answer it.
Okay. I can go first. So, I'll just read all 3 of the questions.
Yeah, that's good.
Who has tried to get the rest of the world to accept you as a new person? Why hasn't it worked? Who once defended you from Galu demons? Is that how?
Oh yeah, those are the demons from the underworld that are trying to bring you back.
Yeah. And I'll backtrack a little bit for
Oh yes, right.
Yeah, for my dress, I resurrected like this. So just I'm in whatever I'm in. My mood is grim, and the playbook representing my old self, I think, is very fun to be the sword.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And then for my Galu demons, they are like blood-stained feathers and made of funeral stone, because I think that's sick as hell.
Awesome.
And then so the question is, who once defended you from Galu demons? Why do you think they did it? And then the last question is, who thinks they know who you really are, and why do you want to believe them? Which again, nice. Very cool. Love it. Are Tony, Richard, are either of those calling out to you in like a fun way?
Repeat that second one.
Who once defended you from Galu demons? Why do I think they did it?
Yeah, so the second will definitely be for you, Sarah, but
Mhm.
the first one's kind of for the other people.
Yeah. Who has tried to get the rest of the world to accept me, as a new person, and why hasn't it worked? I think would be really fun for either.
Yeah.
I'm
Or-
definitely excited to be the person who defended you from Gallo demons.
Okay. I love that.
You want to answer the rest of that question?
You don't have to answer all of them, by the way. You know,
Yes.
Okay.
we can just go over one question for each person. But yeah, so Sarah, why do you think that Callum did it?
I think I must owe him money. And I'm concerned about that.
Like you don't remember owing him money, but you think maybe past you owes him money? That's dark.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you saved me from being dragged back to hell, but just because you want me to pay up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Right on.
Tony, how would you feel? I know we're going to run through this, but I love the idea that you think you know who I really am.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I was looking at those other two, and I think the first one feels a little bit too expected, and I love what we're gonna get to do if we embrace that last one, though. Yeah, for sure.
And why do I want to believe them? I don't know if I know the answer to that yet. I want to come back later and fill that in. But like right now, that feels good.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, who's next?
Who wants to go next? Yeah.
We can go next. So I've got 3 questions. Who got caught with you in a heist? Who knows you lie to them? And who makes you feel boxed in? And I think I'm going to go with the first 2. Who got caught with you in a heist? Why was it your fault that you 2 got caught? And who knows you lie to them? Why do they still want to trust you?
So say the words.
Sarah,
say the words, Tony.
Do you think it's interesting if the 2 of y'all were caught in a heist That's why you're not here anymore.
I think, like in my past life that I was
Yeah.
caught.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah, I do like that actually.
Okay.
Which is my secret way of saying I want to be the second one.
Here's the thing: the second one is so fucking powerful, and I was like, but I'll let you have this one.
Well, why wasn't my fault we got caught?
Yeah, I don't know. Why was it, Callum?
I think the question is, what did you do right that I ignored to Sarah in in the art of doing a heist?
Back when you were a sword, Sarah.
Yeah.
Did you run when I failed to run? Did you not run when I shouldn't have run?
I think some of it is you ran when we shouldn't have. I think that it was like a stand and fight kind of thing, but because you ran, like it drew.
Or was it a show no fear type puzzle where like it was really just about waiting?
Yeah.
And holding.
Yeah, I think it was like an endurance thing, and because you like looked away or something like that, like it. Yes, I love that.
Gotcha. Or like my running is what caught their attention.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Uh-huh.
if we had just like it's that like
Keep
really
your cool.
that high
Yeah.
intensity, and just at the last second you were convinced that we were busted, and so you just like made a run for it, and that's what like set it all off.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Oof.
And were you only with me because you owed me money?
Well, if we're doing it as a past life thing,
Yeah.
that's where this
your
is
past
interesting.
life.
It would be my past life as a sword that this happened.
Yeah.
And you're saying you don't remember everything from it. Huh?
So I don't really remember, but like I think it adds an interesting layer for sure. Because maybe you don't recognize me like now in my resurrected form, but like you have this secret shame of like there was this one time you fucked up a job, and heaven forbid I ever remember or like regain who I once was. Like that there's this like weird kind of I'm afraid to remember, because then I think that I owe you something, when in reality like you owe me. I think that's wonderful.
So like Sarah, Sai doesn't remember the heist, huh?
Correct.
Okay. Interesting.
I love that.
Yeah. And Tony, or Richard, either one.
Reply to him.
Why does the vessel still want to trust you? Or Tony, why do you still want to trust Callum?
I've got a pitch based on like I think some of the basic relationships and some of the ways I think my character's already starting to lean, but like I still want to trust you. I wonder if it's kind of the classic like I mean, Richard, do you think what's your character's name one more time?
Callum.
Callum. Do you think Callum is hard for other people to read? Like, do you think Callum is a good liar? Yeah.
I definitely. I don't think other people catch on. I mean, like, probably they suspect that he's a sailor and is lying about something.
Right.
But they couldn't point to the thing that was a lie.
Yeah. Maybe like do you think it's interesting almost if there is like if it is almost a different type of honesty, right? Like I know Callum lies to everybody, and I know Callum's tells, like, so for me, like the honesty and the truth are like the lies and the true statements kind of to everybody else where they're like, oh, I think he's probably lying about something. I'm like, oh, I know he's lying about those things. Like I know when Callum is lying. And so essentially like that it doesn't actually matter. Like
Right.
there is a dependability that that Callum is lying that essentially I can trust, right? Like I can trust that Callum is lying about certain things because I know there are certain things he is lying about specifically. How do you feel
God
about
forbid.
that, Richard?
Yeah, go ahead.
My worry is I still don't know why you want to trust me.
Oh, I do.
Well, it sounds like it's not a problem for the vessel. Like they can trust you because they know when you're lying, so they know when not to rely on what you're saying.
Yeah.
They may even know enough about how you lie to know what the truth actually is.
Yeah, and I think it's almost more like I know a lot of secrets, but I think it's more of a dependency. Like I probably won't lie about them. Like and when that lie needs to happen, like I can trust that you will do it and do it well, as opposed to me who will struggle with actually not just saying the thing that I know.
I was thinking earlier, God forbid that you should suddenly find out that you don't always know when Callum is lying.
Yeah.
That Callum has actually put one over on you. That would probably be delightful.
Messy.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that takes us to Tony's relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Scrolling some more. PDF not loading, internet being slow.
Oh no.
There we go. All right. Let's see. My questions are who do you trust almost as much as your patron? What do you trust them with? Who shows interest in you just to get to your patron? Do you see what's really going on? Who shared a dream with you and your patron? What warning did your patron give both of you? These are all real good.
I'm gonna be selfish.
Yeah.
I want that last one. Who shared a dream with you and your patron?
Love
and
it.
what warning did the patron give you? I love the idea that like I became, resurrected and like I came and like I had this weird fucking dream. And for whatever reason, that's how we linked up. And it's like it's part like I don't know. I love that that's like the motivator.
I love that.
Awesome.
So what shared dream what's a dream share with you and your patron? Let's see. Who shared a dream with you and your patron?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't actually need to know what the dream was,
is
except that there was a warning in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What warning did your patron give both of you? We just all play into feeling guilty about Sai's death and be like, no. Patron gave us a warning not to go on the thing that resulted in Sai's death, and I didn't. And so,
interesting.
Yeah.
If a significant part of your relationships are in Sai's forgotten past, I mean that's interesting. Like
Yeah.
It is. I do
Yeah.
like the idea that this came post death, so there's like a tie. We have a tie to like the before life, and now there's like an active one in this one as well. But I'm cool with whatever.
Yeah.
Like that would make a lot of sense to me, Sai. You now are a mystical being. You have a connection still to the underworld and the shades who reside in it. So like it makes sense to me if there's like this supernatural.
Yeah, I feel
connection.
Tony, I almost wonder if it wasn't like a the warning was that like I needed to like help protect you from something to come.
Ooh.
and like that's part of the reason that like I've returned from the underworld, so to speak, and that if I don't carry out in that, like something bad will happen. Or something like that. Or maybe you need to protect me, one way or the other, right? Like there's a,
because you know, Tony, your patron is a god, but they are, or a demon, but they're not in the pantheon, and
Right.
the pantheon hates them.
Right.
And I don't know if we'll have a god of death, but there is one in the game. We may not detail them,
Right.
but there is one notionally in the game, and they may not be happy with you because of your patron or your link to them.
Yeah.
And they certainly aren't happy with Sarah, because you're the one that got away.
right.
Just throwing that one. It's just a possibility.
I think that's super interesting. I also think it's fun, almost like if we each had the dream, but we don't know. Like, I feel bad because I didn't protect you and you died, and you are back. Essentially, like, we each think the portent was to protect, like, for one of us to protect the other one, and we just each assumed a certain role but it is unclear which one it was.
It's a
And
dream,
so, like,
and things are
I feel guilty
Yeah.
because your original like life character died, and I didn't protect you. You are back because
Right.
you feel your character is convicted about protecting me.
Okay.
I think that's super
Ooh.
like because especially if it was a shared dream, and especially if it was like almost like, hey, we had the same perspective and we don't necessarily know like fully what this shared dream means. I think that's super interesting.
So the note
'cause,
I'm
like,
making is the warning the patron gave was one of us needs to protect the other, but it's unclear
Yeah.
when or how
Right.
or who.
Oh, wow. Like, I don't always know who I am in a dream, you know?
Yeah. I think that's super interesting.
Sweet.
Richard, I am willing to accept either of the other two for your character. I think there's a lot of really good immediate juice in the middle one who shows interesting in you just to get to your patron. You see what's really going on. I think that is less interesting if I know you are lying, and we've kind of already answered that question. I also think it's super interesting to be like, I trust this tricksy sailor almost as much as my patron. I think originally leaning more towards the middle one, but I kind of think that first one's more fun. Do you have one that stands out to you more?
Yeah, I think the first one is probably a better one. I'm not really sure how I feel about magic and patrons.
Okay.
Or I'm not really sure how my character feels about magic and patrons.
Yeah.
I like that it deepens the bond too of that trust around lying and whatnot, and really like doubles down on this reliance that could be fickle.
Undermined.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Do you trust me with the information of your dream?
Oh. I feel like, because did we establish you don't know that Sai has is the previous person who died?
No, I don't. I think we know that.
Oh, do you know that? Okay, cool. I couldn't remember for sure.
Okay.
Like
Sai doesn't remember it, but I think
cool. Yeah. That's what I was trying to remember. Yeah. Who knows what? We certainly kept it simple. I like I think I am leaning towards a lot of secrets type stuff. So I do think it needs, whatever it is, needs to be a secret. I'm okay with it being the shared vision. That feels a little samey though, to a certain degree.
We can figure out later what it is too. Like, I like that it's a secret.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say it is a dream. I don't know if it's the one that you shared.
Or you could just
right now. I don't know if it's the one you shared.
The secret not just be like you have a patron and that patron is speaking to you?
It could be. Here's
that might be a hard secret to keep, but but you let me know.
Fair.
let's throw this out and we'll come back to it because I think it's a good trope match and easy to work in later. Whatever the secret is, it has to do with some sort of star configuration. Let's pin that out to give it a vibe. And I think we can, because I think there's also plenty of information we can pull out of like a star sign or a mapping thing or all kinds of stuff. But I have told you a secret I was not supposed to share with anyone else. That is in some way, shape, or form tied to the stars.
And who is your patron again?
I haven't 100% nailed it down yet. The one that I was leaning toward is Igdama, Liege of Secret Tunnels, but I'm gonna keep it open until we're done with the Patreon. If we lean into a certain vibe, I might give it some different flavor, but I think we're definitely going with secrets as the theme.
Love it. All right, awesome. So then let's build our pantheon.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first? Sarah, I see your cursor.
Yes.
Do you want to just do it? So you pick a name, figure out what their pronouns are, and then you just go, through those 4 pick lists.
Okay. I want to pick Nesca because I think that's cool. I think Nesca's primary domain is light and color. I think the natural world. Ooh. For me, I love the idea of that being like the desert. Yeah, and I'm gonna say for concepts, I'm torn between duality and balance.
Let's do both.
Awesome.
Yeah. Those feel tied in a way that's really
yeah.
They just have like slightly different vibe, and I'm like, oh dang. And then for mortal affairs, I want to say either weaving or mirrors.
Well, they've got light and color, so mirrors would work.
Yeah, I think let's do mirrors. I think that's cool.
Okay. Possibly a way that people communicate in the desert.
That feels better with desert. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay. Oh, what's Arnuska's pronouns?
I think it's she, theys. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Who wants to go next? Should I just call on people?
Yeah.
Sure.
Whichever.
Yeah. Go for it, Richard.
Yeah, I'm gonna create Shara. They, them. Primary domain is sex.
I'm not gonna lie, I was looking at that and really hoping we got a sex guy.
It was only a matter of time.
Eventually you get sex gods.
Enthusiastic sex god consent.
Oh yeah.
The natural world is the moon. Concepts are lies.
Oh my gosh.
Mortal affairs is theft.
Awesome. Okay. Moon. Lies, and what's the last one?
Theft.
Theft. Oh, great. Wow. Well, Tony, do you have something singing to you?
Yeah, let's look at I haven't even looked at the names yet. We've got Niska and Shara, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I may just like put numbers on them so that people can roll if they want to.
Yeah.
I feel like the story game OSR divide is really just, can you roll randomly or do you have to pick?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and making everything secret lists also works, right? Like too,
mm,
it makes it really easy. I'm gonna go with I think Bao, I think we'll go with.
wow.
I wanna give us a good god who's gonna be mad at me specifically. and my friends by association. I actually think it's interesting if we're leaning into this secrets thing. The two that immediately, or three that immediately jump out are searing knowledge, right? Like basically be like the opposite of like secrets, like
Ooh, yeah.
underground. So we go with like the tunnels route, but also like hidden things, and then wisdom, kind of like saying like wisdom opposite knowledge, are really interesting. These are all really good. Let's see. We'll go I mean, searing knowledge was the first one that jumped out.
Yeah,
so we'll
that
go with
one's
I like that.
That's
yeah.
so good.
And let's say in the natural world.
Thank you.
Let's go with insects.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, we didn't put a line on bugs, so
yeah,
here we go.
Let's get some bugs.
Yeah. I love I do want to check in on one of our veils. Sarah, how do you feel about bugs getting smushed? Is that okay, or is that
We're gonna be okay?
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I just want to make
fine.
sure, like that's not
Yeah.
that's not an animal getting. I mean, it is an animal getting injured. Insects are animals.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll be okay.
Thank
you.
I think is augury, like, is that fortune telling? Is that what I'm thinking? Is that
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah, telling the future.
Yeah, let's not look at a different window while I'm doing that. Yeah, augury I think is fun.
Yeah, good for searing knowledge.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like,
And
I know
then
everything that's going to happen.
Mortal Affairs. The nice thing is this one's super broad. I think I already know what I want.
If you want to make one up too, or
yeah, but I actually love that this has just been converted into a god of commerce also. Like that searing knowledge and augury has been like absolutely reduced to like fantasy AI level of bullshit.
It burns us.
Yeah. There we go. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I love this idea of this searing knowledge in the form of a swarm of insects.
Yeah.
The relentless knowing that just buzzes into somebody's mind.
Yeah. Also, just like the scene of like people gossiping about something and like a fly like being in the background, and then that,
I love that.
and then it like moving across. You like hearing all like the exposition in the world of like what's happening is like a fly moving through all these different scenes, and then eventually like gathering up with this is just a really good. Like,
and then like I could see Bao, you know how Egyptian gods have animal heads with a fly's head, and in these enormous compound eyes, each little bit of it has a different truth reflected in it.
Oh, I love that. I also love like the idea that like this, like it's desirable to like have insects around, but like also horrifying. Like almost like people are checking like rooms for bugs, sort of a thing. Like
literally
not to
bugs. Yeah.
not to like anger Bao, but like just to know if they can actually share what they want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that. Like Bao doesn't necessarily know everything, but they want to, so they make tons and tons of bugs.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Wow.
I also just love the fact that like bugs are bad for agriculture, but good for commerce.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I
Like,
also
put locusts on the coins or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it could be in a apotropaic way, where it's like, if it's on the coin, it won't be in my fields.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Like almost you've kind of captured them in the coin of some sense.
But then, of course, every time you make a business transaction, Bao knows.
Yeah.
Like, Bao is there.
Right. Yeah.
Like it can be a bug on the coin. It's still there, listening.
Right.
Also, just think about the amount of this is what religion is for. Think about the amount of fear you can instill in your children with a god that's always potentially just buzzing around anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
I also
And
just love the notion that Bao is a racketeering god. Like, you know, it's just like just on the face of it, just a racketeering god. Like, make the sacrifices. Nice field you got there. Wouldn't it be nice if some of it went to my temple?
Would suck if all the locusts came by. As David said in chat, the elf on the shelf of deities.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, we can make more as we go, but let's skip over to the city. And the way I have it, set up is just we'll go in a round, each person answering one question. And Tony, you went last, so Sarah, do you want to pick the name?
Yeah, let me navigate the board really quick.
Yeah.
Let me look at what we've got. I want to go with DeBC or DeBC.
Yeah.
Is that how would you guys say it?
Nothing. It just made me want to say Debussy immediately. There's nothing wrong about the way you said it. There's just the 12-year-old boy. There are
Tony's the problem.
There are two wolves inside of me, but there's also a 12-year-old boy.
Excellent.
These names have meanings. Okay, not that one. Some of them are taken from. Oh wait, am I looking at the wrong list? Yeah. Okay, that is City in the Valley. These are in the manuscript, but not in the character sheet yet.
Yeah, because you've done a good. There is a good amount of cultural consultation that's gone into this game, also too. Which is I think super enhancing, also too, because you're not just saying like, is this okay, but actually, how do we bring language and culture and other things into this while still making it fantastic, which takes it out of Orientalism area and into actual cultural appreciation. Great.
And I am relying actually not on a cultural consultant per se for this, but on this amazing writer who's helping me with the book, Sean D'Souza, who just researched a bunch about the Sumerian language.
Yeah.
And then he kind of made up some names through that. But he, as I asked him to, he got very specific so that you don't get into this weird Orientalist shit, that Sword Sorcery cannot stop blundering into,
Yeah.
So okay, cool. So Richard, where is it located?
I have a brand, and that brand says it must be an island.
It demands a sacrifice.
Demands it.
The Artwork Studio brand demands. It either had to be on a coast or an island, and I feel like islands are just fantastic.
Awesome.
Would have been better if it had been like, this is the Vale of Roses, and this is just centuries advanced Moonlight on Roseville Beach setting.
Yeah, centuries in the past. that
this is the original
the inciting
proto
event.
the proto Roseville Beach.
Roseville Beach during Pangaea.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Tony, what products is the city known for?
Yeah, this is good. It is on the sea, so we could easily pick a seafaring one. We'd want one that
Like the
doesn't probably
fish.
take up. Yeah, you certainly don't want something that takes up too much land.
I mean, it'd be really fucked up if you picked like one of these quarried stone ones and like the island's just been hollowed out in the middle.
Yeah, I mean there is a level at which like silver, gold, and bone tools is really interesting if you would go that route.
Cool.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that vibe. Like that gives it immediately very interesting vibe to the island. Like let's go silver, gold, and bone tools.
Nice. Awesome. Sarah, do you want to think how it's ruled?
I feel the Council of Elders option. I like the idea that like there's just like a room full of guys that are constantly arguing about how deeply they delve for these materials to keep the city alive, and that there's like it's just sort of they're so obsessed with like the principles and ideas and the theories, but they're not actually doing anything.
You mean like you're getting someone else to dig, or
just
they're
like
not even digging at all?
To stop digging, even like you know what I mean? Like that there's like they are. I don't know. I like that. I like that idea more. That I was tempted to do a creature, but I think the idea that it's just like a bunch of guys that like let me propose this plan, and they go, oh, and then they just talk about the plan, and then they go home.
But Sarah, I almost love it more if it is like if it has an almost like not making it a creature, but creating a collective identity for the council of like what if they don't stop? What if there are always 4 elders and they're yelling and shouting? They're like 12 total, but there are 4 and they're constantly shouting at each other and they just rotate out and it is an endless conversation.
Yes,
and they're debating and arguing and every once in a while issuing edicts, but then on to the next thing immediately.
Yeah, it's the Reddit thread that will never die. Yes.
I feel like this
another
was
thing.
This is me in my 20s, just like
a
lost decade because I never got anything done.
It is simultaneously the best conversation and worst conversation you are not able to stop.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got our 3 Pantheon members. I will say they all have temples here. Niska, Shara, and Bao. I think Bao, of course, being this racketeering commerce god, has got to be big here. So skipping that one, Richard, what is the patron? Who is the patron god, or what is the patron creature of this place? And if it's just the locust, that works too. But
I actually like I actually sort of like the notion of a Lamasu. Being sort of like the city patron. I suspect many people here believe it's because this city is older. They believe it's because this city is older than the other city states / whatever imperial force surrounds it. But I think we don't really know why this particular Lamasu is associated with our particular city.
So there is an existing Lamasu who hangs out.
Oh no, I think we may believe that no one has seen this Lamasu, but I'm thinking that like it may also be that like we sort of like, oh, our patron is a Lamasu because we are the old city.
The original city.
We're the original capital or some bullshit like that.
Well, like, and in this world, it's just a bunch of independent city-states who trade together and maybe go to war with each other. But like, there's no polity that controls everything, or even says they do. Well, maybe we do.
Maybe they all do.
It's notional. Yeah, maybe they all do. We don't know. They may have their own.
Our Temple of Bao is really into the racketeering side. But I think it's also like it's possible that some people in this city believe that the Lamasu is emerged from the Atlantean. Our belief that we are the first city founded by the Atlanteans.
Oh yeah, so I should give some background. Like, the Atlanteans were the first creation before the gods. Before the humans, created by the gods, unless the Atlanteans actually created the gods. I don't know, but they discovered sorcery, so the story goes, and the gods destroyed them for it, because sorcery is this blasphemy that could destroy the gods. So now you just see you see their ruins in weird places, and they're kind of latent with all this power, but they themselves have been wiped off the face of the earth. So yeah, this could be a city maybe founded by the Atlanteans.
We tell ourselves it's founded by the Atlanteans. So long ago, who can really say? But like,
I love that.
We were descended from the Atlanteans.
Because like, no sooner is a people destroyed than you romanticize them and be like, wouldn't it be cool if we had some connection to them?
Right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Tony, what landmark is the city known for?
Yeah. I wanna. It's really funny where I was like, I want to go with something big, and then it, like immediately in my head, I'm like, Tony, that's what a landmark is. We're an island. Lighthouse feels nice, but I will say if we're going with Lamasu and given some of the other stuff we have, like we could call it a tower. We could also probably call it a giant statue or a giant tomb if we want something to mark off. But I like the idea of like an unreachable perch. Like maybe it's like a temple, but like it's where the Lamasu, like the last Lamasu was supposed to theoretically have lived. And I love, especially if we have mines and stuff, that they kind of go down below it. Like that we get this sense of like, hey, there is this high kind of almost perched temple that hangs over the city. And we have these mines going down, and that like there's this very precarious, like if the water comes in too far or if the tower topples, like there's all these kind of cantilevered forces. And I think it gives the elders plenty to talk about. So we could call that a tower. We could call that a giant tomb, I feel like, but I think that's the vibe I want to go with. We could also call it the perch. And
were you saying that it goes down below the mines, or that the mines are?
No, I think the mines are below it, and it's like there is this kind of like it goes up super high. Like I think it's a natural like arc,
almost like
very
a cliff
like
or something.
almost like a single
raised
jutting
up above everything.
Jutting massive rock, and there is some sort of structure up there, but it is essentially unassailable. By a normal human person.
I like the idea of it being like a tower. I think that's really
tower.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to offer to mark off giant tomb too, if you want.
I mean, we could do both.
Let's mark tower and giant tomb, and we just know there's a little bit of tombiness going on here.
Awesome. With a revenant in play. Yeah. Oh. Okay, Sarah.
I'm gonna suggest we've been streaming for about an hour.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I feel like this is a good time to take just like a quick 5-minute bio break. Before we come back and finish out the rest of our city. Are you guys cool with that?
Yes.
Excellent. Great. Okay, chat, you heard us. We're going to go take a break, grab some water. While we do that, you should go to ttrpg.link/DefyTheGods to check out the Kickstarter for this very cool game and learn more about it there. But we will
see the cool art on the Kickstarter.
See the cool art. I know, so true. Anyways, so we'll be right back. And we are back from our break. It was great. And if you didn't follow instructions and check out the link below, it's okay. I forgive you. But you should look at it because that's where you can see the cool art for Defy the Gods. You can back this very cool game and see what cool stretch goals and whatnot is in store. But in the meantime, we're going to get right back into it. We are working on building out our city, and we are on the 8th prompt. Which I believe is now mine. One unique thing about the city and its people, and I am so torn because there's so many good things. But my heart tells me, because I think this is cool, it is forever night, and sunlight is illegal within the city walls. I like that a whole bunch because I like the idea that we're like mining in silver and gold and everything like that.
In the dark.
In the dark, like everything is kind of like based on glinting. Part of this is why like the patron is kind of so or the thing that Richard picked before, like we haven't actually ever seen it because it's dark all the time. Maybe we've seen shadows that make us believe that it's there, or we have seen it, but we've convinced ourselves it's like branches of trees or crumbling rock walls or something like that.
So if you step outside the city walls, is it light in daytime or is it the whole island?
I think that there's like a range of effect sort of a thing. Like the further away from the city, the lighter it gets. But like part of the reason you can tell you're getting close to the city is that like dusk just starts to linger heavier, like as you travel closer.
This question used to be like at the end of the pick of this whole city sheet, and like I moved it way up because it just changes everybody's conception of the city completely. And I'm still moving it up, like, because I think I was sort of like, oh yeah, low key, whatever. It's always night, no big deal.
No big deal. And everybody's like, hell yeah.
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, I love it as kind of almost a perpetual shadow from the tower also too, like going down into this like well that we've dug down a little bit. It's good vibes.
That's a big tower. I like that. And people are like, no, this is how it should be.
It's just the way it is.
Awesome. Richard?
All right. Yeah, Richard's next.
All right. Let us. I'm on coins are made of, correct?
Coins, yes. Thank you.
I think despite the fact that we mine all these precious metals, our coins are made from blessed bone.
That feels good.
Ooh, where's the bone come from? Is it mined also?
I like that idea. Like if we're kind of doing it based on like down in the dark tunnels, it's just like what reflects light, that like we come up with like buckets of these bones and that's what we build our tools and stuff out of.
Yeah, I feel like I want to twist the darkness a little bit.
Oh hell yeah, do it.
So I feel like we are told that. But most of us know that it's from certain deceased ancient aristocratic families. When they die, they become our coinage. One of the city's most powerful, like most of the elders will come from those families.
Oh wow!
So that they are in death. They become the our history becomes our coin. Our imperial history becomes our coin.
The highest honor of Bao is to become coin.
Holy shit.
And I feel like that the Temple of Bao may have some special locusts that consume the dead, the wealthy, the revered dead, and leave only the bones.
God. The subtle classist statements of things like know your worth, like the chillingness that could mean in a society like this is.
Well, and how little time it takes for there to be a new wealthy class.
Yeah.
History of a great city state, but the new wealthy class, the Julius Caesars, will never be the blessed dead, and their bodies will never become part of the will never become the bone.
Okay, so like there's we aren't making new bones, right? So eventually we're gonna run out of stuff to make coins out of. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, new bones. I mean, yeah, but like, yeah, I feel like they're the
if that line has ended. Like,
yeah.
Also, like
okay.
the there's so many little great narrative beats that comes out of this already. Like making low level nobles if you're just running short on like people who don't know that they're being invited into like peerage merely to be killed and have their bones harvested
or adopted by one of the noble
adopted
families.
Yeah, like the like households having a position of the
yes.
adopted child that is literally just to help juice the
no.
bone count.
And I'm pretty sure there has been some upstart emperor who's like been reminded perpetually that he can never be one of the old aristocratic
I see.
families.
Yes.
So
yes.
he's just massacred tons of members of the old aristocratic families to create more money. Like, you know, there's all the shitty things, like, well, you know, wealthy people do shitty things to each other all the time, and I just
Yeah.
wallowing in that.
Wow. It's like this warlord who's told, yeah, well, sure, you can take up the city, but you'll never be one of us. And he's like, that's right, but I know where I'm getting my money from.
I don't need to be one of you. You have something I want.
2 months later, one of the families is like, why don't we adopt you?
Oh, yes. Like, yeah. You've got really good bones.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
How
Tony,
do the laws make it clear it's not your city?
But you say it is your city. How do they make you try to feel like it's not your city?
Yeah. Is this for us specifically? Is this a broad question? Okay.
It's for you all. Like, you, because spoiler, you all are outcasts in this city. You know, you live in the poor neighborhood. You don't have influence or bone coins.
But it could mean other people also too, right? Like it includes us, but it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, given where we're currently at, they forbid you to buy and sell in the market feels really strong. But let me read through them all just to double check that is the most interesting choice. Most jobs, they require you to work certain jobs. Own property. They do not recognize your marriages or parentage. Marriages or parentage is interesting also too, given what we just talked about.
Yeah, right.
They're evicting you from your neighborhood. I still think the easiest one, if we want to get right in and have some immediate juice around what we've built, they forbid you to buy or sell in the market, I think is good.
That one's really good. I'm gonna suggest too, because the evicting you from your neighborhood, I like the idea that the mines are starting to spread under the city, and so it's starting to like be structurally unsound, and perhaps parts of the city in like the dark are vanishing into the mines, and so they're like kicking you out to move to like more secure ground or something like that.
That feels more protective though.
Or they're not kicking you out, and you just every once in a while there's a sinkhole.
Yeah.
Well, or what I'm saying is they are displacing you. They are taking your safe spot, and you are forced to like go live in these like old buildings that are potentially might sink into the ground at any moment.
They tell you this is protective. In reality, it's because sinkholes create doorways to the tunnels.
Okay, so let's combine some things.
We can pick multiple.
I was going to say, I actually like they forbid you to own property, right? And they are evicting you from your neighborhood, right? Like all three of those, essentially, like, so we cannot essentially do normal commerce the way the city has it set up, which includes the ability to buy property. Because that's a class right, I think. And then they are evicting you from your neighborhood, like which is not because we don't own it, right? Like we do not own the neighborhood. And we can come up with it is dangerous. They are just mining under. We can find out why that is, but essentially our neighborhood where we live is being destroyed, I think is a good.
I love this idea that see what you think of this, that only people in the council own property, or people that of the class that the council comes from. And it's just a whole bunch of landlords and a whole bunch of
landlords,
renters, like in the city. You know,
I think we should go. Could we go back to the rulers and so have it
Mhm, mhm.
council of elders and like feuding collection of wealthy families?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that way we kind of capture the spirit of both of those
Yeah.
things.
Mhm,
I almost like the elders as something of a just like people assume that's where decisions get made, but it's actually just the noise of governance almost.
Oh my God, there's somebody that they pass notes to out from the council room chamber who's actually getting shit done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because they're just always talking.
Mhm.
They're high on Red Bull and they're just
Yes.
can't stop sharing ideas. But there's like some very practical people outside that council room who are
Right.
issuing edicts in their name, all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I like the idea that the edicts are just like a bunch, like the council is putting out documents that's just like, here's what we talked about today, and it's these huge long list, but then whoever's actually doing something just kind of inserts carefully like in the middle of that, like, and also,
Or
you know,
or they're
public
just they're
public
ch-
services.
they're cherry picking words. It's like, hey, we just need to know that they said all the words that we're putting out today. They don't actually have to have been connected or the same.
We're taking them completely out of context.
We're taking
Yeah.
them complete,
like-
and it is word for word. And so the person who is essentially like, here's the next topic for debate, can be mining for the words that the like elites
Yes.
need to get out
Yes.
of the
interpreting
the
the will
elders.
of the council.
Correct.
When you've got a mostly illiterate population, that's not hard, you know? Like
Yeah.
you weren't in the council chamber, you don't know what they
Yeah.
said. But you can take, I love this idea that like somehow what they have put down does matter, but then you can do a William S. Burroughs cut up novel with it or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, okay, that's really interesting. All right.
Just for dystopian reasons, I'd love to add in they don't recognize your marriage as a parentage, specifically because that you those are for managing property and you don't have any property.
Oh fuck. Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. 4 of them. That's fine.
It's
like
in a whole city. But
and
one-
like there used to be ones in this list that went harder, but that I took out because it was just too real. But some of these are pretty real. But
Yeah.
like
we pulled in some pretty real depressing shit.
Don't
into
worry,
this.
we got it.
It's good.
okay, who's next? I've lost track.
It's me.
And you're
Silver.
already hovering over something, and I'm wondering if that's your call or if that just happens to be where your thing is.
Oh, it just happens to be where my mouse
Okay.
is. The public event that you love. I want to say that like I love specifically, or that we love as a group.
That you and your community love.
I think me and my community probably love like
You as a group and your community. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this. I like the idea of it being like a divine parade. And maybe specifically like it's connected to Nesca being like the god of like light and color. While sunlight's not allowed in the city, perhaps this is as close as we can get, is that there's like a bunch of mirrors and light that is like splayed like as they travel through the city. And it like kind of like brings like this just kind of like inaccessible thing for because I feel like most people don't leave the city. And so it just like it like legitimately brightens that space and makes everything feel a little more hopeful.
I love that.
Is it a Bradbury story where they're all on Venus and the sun only comes out once every 7 years and there's a girl who was born on Earth and it's all real sad and everybody gets mad afterwards?
The short story. Yeah.
It gives that vibe. But like I do love the idea of like this is like everybody gets a like conceptually everybody gets a chance to stand in the sun, like the sunbeams like passing over, and it's like the one time a year you get to like actually feel sunlight, like, you know, manipulated through whatever.
Yeah, or like as close as you can get to sunlight, right? Like,
and maybe they're like magic mirrors, you know, where they're actually emitting the light. And all these
I love the idea like they have like in our parades, there's these huge floats, and it's just like colored glass and mirrors that are like dangling, and like as like they like make like the like the chimes sounds, and like it's just color splashing everywhere. And I almost wonder if it's like kind of going back to like Nesca's concept. Like it is like the idea maybe originally for it was that it brought like balance, like it kind of made people, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like if I'm living in a world that's like always dark, I might start to lose appreciation for that darkness. And maybe it was sort of this like at first it was trying to show like how garish like it is to have like bright light or something like that. But over time, and like as the people have been kind of oppressed, that message has been lost. And like there is like it's become a much more hopeful, like resistant sort of ceremony. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. I was interpreting it the other way at first, that you were going really dark, and that you bring out light once a year just to make people feel the darkness crush their soul afterward. But I love that it's actually a lot of folk participation where people just resist the crushing, soul crushing darkness.
Like it, I think at first it was sort of like presented in this weird way of like, like, okay, yes, we are trying to get you to understand like how garish and godly and awful or gaudy that this is, and like other cities, almost like as a control tactic. But over time people have found the like balance and beauty in that, and it's kind of backfired a little bit.
I'm picturing like a statue that gets brought out and people look forward to. That's just like a big statue of a Lamassu with all these little mirror ball mosaics of glass all over it, just shining all down the main thoroughfare.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool. So Richard, what object or objects are sacred in your community?
I'd love to grab eggs.
Eggs is spot on. That's
what
the
a
right
powerful
answer.
What a powerful selection.
Awesome. Cool. Tony, what is a popular place in your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood, it's the coffee shop. Go to unityjava.com. Both locations open from 6 to 6. I mean, that does feel good, actually, given the like light and dark stuff we're going with. But also, oh man, I like for Richard, what's the name of the god you made?
Scroll up.
Shara.
Shara, right? Shara, because Shara is a sex god, and we've got moon, so darkness, lies, theft. Man, I do like brothel as an option. I think I want to put a little on it, but I think that's a Go ahead, Sarah. You got a thing?
What if it's a combination of both?
Well, I don't think it's just I do think it is a gathering place, right?
But like what my point being, like, if the sun is never in the city, knowing like the passage of time and days is hard.
Yeah.
What if it's like synced to when the brothel house like brews its coffee? You know what I mean? Like the smell of coffee as it like exudes into the street has become sort of this like
it is morning because there's
there is coffee at the brothel. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I like it as a like normalized community gathering space also too.
Cool. All right, I'll mark brothel, coffee house.
Oh, secret communities we know about.
That we know about. This is our last one, so I definitely want this to be like a team sport. I like the idea of the Smugglers Guild. Or the people who remember the city has the city has erased from history.
like kind of through that, like we don't recognize marriages, we don't allow you to like own property, like we have
Like-
maybe disgraced people with blessed bones and they like hide in the shadows or something, you know. They've escaped the horrible fate of becoming currency.
Oh wow! Like they don't just wait for people to die of old age; they need coins.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Inflation's a real thing.
Is it God, is it like essentially like counterfeit coin? Like, is this a place that like honors those who have been erased by having essentially like a coin collection that allows them to tell the story, like a script that is essentially a mockery of the like public script? Because there's also a good Smugglers Guild like hidden object vibe to that also too. Like in anybody could have a coin collection, right? Like anybody could have like, here's my family, or here's how I carry those we've lost with me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's...
And like it wouldn't have the bug on it. It would have
it would have something else
that reminds you about
that person, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Which would make it like immediately dangerous to have on you also too.
But it would also be like whenever you make a transaction with this, one vow isn't on the transaction, but also I think you have to tell a story about that person to whoever's getting the coin, so that they are carrying the memory and not just, oh God, it's so anti-capitalist. I love it.
Like the memory is what gives the coin value, right? The person's life and like what their deeds, that's the thing that gives it value. And so it is that like remembering of community that brings them together. Fuck.
Wow.
I think we found a gang.
Okay. All right.
It's morbid as fuck and I love it.
It's great.
Me trying to figure out how to make bone coins out of all my loved ones.
I know. Shit.
Sarah, when are you sending me those teeth, by the way?
I know. I need to, buddy. We gotta figure something out.
Wow. Oh, this is amazing. Okay, the next one should go a little faster, I think.
Okay.
But
I don't know. Have you met us?
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
Yes.
Moving on to the wilds. The places around the city, and there's stuff immediately around the city. There's stuff adjacent to that, and there's stuff is further off. And the whole thing about the wilds is that it is dangerous and untamed and trackless, and full of these gigantic creatures who really don't like the city or civilization and what it's doing to their habitat. So we're on an island. So it would make sense that the island itself would definitely be what's closest, but we can choose other kinds of terrain on the island or on nearby islands. So Richard, like basically I would suggest that each of you mark one thing, and the first two will be things that are very close, and the second two will be a little bit farther away, and then the last two would be reputed to be nearby.
I think I'm going to add some mountains.
Love it. Which one of those do you want to circle? Because and you can zoom in too. The letters are really small.
Yeah. 1 second. And one.
Yeah. So for people who haven't seen it, it's a hex grid of different kinds of terrain, and the adjacency will determine what gets picked in the next round.
Let's set the ones between the river, the hills, and the forest.
Okay.
Which gives us a little bit bigger of an island, I think.
Okay.
But I feel like we need a source for fresh water. And rivers, mountains are always a good source for fresh water.
Cool. Tony, what's the other closest wilderness terrain?
I mean, sea feels like we need to have it for a number of reasons, but let's hit sea.
All right. I can do this. This top right one?
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Excellent. Okay, cool. Sarah, what? Pick one that's adjacent to one of those.
I'm gonna go with. I'm torn between river and cliffs, but I think I'm gonna go river.
Okay. Cool. I can do this.
And then Richard, you get to pick another one, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
I think not far away, there's another archipelago of islands.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Where they're like, maybe not down with the whole City of Night thing.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, they may be very small. They also probably hide a lot of pirates and smugglers, which, you know, I'm sure the elders never take advantage of the proximity of pirates and smugglers to use against each other.
Yeah.
Chris, we got a question from chat.
Yes.
Ali Walking says, I don't know if you're watching the chat. Is this creation process always part of session 0? I know the answer to that, but do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. This is when we do a full session 0. Yeah, we do the whole 9 yards. For one shots, I have done like just the Pantheon in the city. But yeah, this is session 0, and once we have a sense of what the 5 world forces are that are bearing down on you, then you all can make a relationship with one or more of them, and that will be the end of character and world creation. And it also gives you a rich palette to draw from to do your world scene, where you play members of one of the world forces and play out a brief scene to answer a question that gives the GM direction of where the players want to see the conflict go. I really designed it with long form play in mind, so that you make this whole world that has depth enough that you can really be in this oppositional relationship with all the world forces, but still have a lot to work from. So yeah. Okay, and then put question marks on the steps and the cliffs that you know are around.
Yeah.
Are farther away.
Yeah, I want to, for mine at least, I love the idea of like the sea just hitting a giant cliff wall that nobody has ever scaled. Everybody knows is there. Barrier of the known world at the moment.
Like if you got on the sea, you'll just run into the.
You will eventually run into these cliffs, yeah, and they are probably covered with crashed ships and people who
hell yeah.
went to explore but couldn't turn away in time. Like like the water is essentially pushing you towards them once you get close enough.
Ooh, interesting. It's frothing.
Yeah.
Water like a maelstrom, but linear and right on all these rocks.
Real danger shit.
That's awesome. Oh, great. Okay, cool. All right. So we have for our terrain, right, the mountains and the sea, the river and other islands, and the cliffs and the steppe. So where is the steppe? Is that? Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like in relation to the city, right, is like we're kind of stuck, like there's the mountains and the river. Like I kind of picture us kind of like up in like a almost like a literal mining town, right? Like an old timey, how they would find these bowls right up against the mountain and there's the river. And I think like the kind of to like Tony's thing, like the cliffs just kind of end and it's dangerous. I like the idea that like a bunch of the island is just this rolling grass where there's like seemingly nothing there. And so people like, I don't know, like that's kind of what drives people to live in the city on this island, is that like it is so not barren, but like just very exposed in a way that the rest of this area, like the city, isn't. And I like the idea that like people have maybe heard rumors that there's stuff out there, or that there might be like ruins or something there, but like it's impossible to find because like it's just like it's a sea of a different kind.
Yeah, but
like
it's a sea of grass, right? Like that's a sea of tall grass is like good vibe.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. Okay, so I am underlining the things that are or circling or underlining the things that you picked from the table at the right, so that so that we can get a sense of what creatures are out there. So because we've got like under islands and sea, there's dolphins, the leviathan, and sharks. Under mountains, there's the Anka bird, the bull of heaven, who comes down and eats everything.
As you
griffin,
do.
manticore, rook, winged horses. So those are just to get some sense of who's out there that's a danger to the human world. So that when we get to the next question of how do the creatures of the wilds make life dangerous to the city, you can have some sense of maybe who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I've once again lost track of where we are. So
Richard, it'll be Richard and
okay.
Tony for picking the two.
Okay.
And how does the city revenge itself on the wilds? Pick up to 2, correct?
We're doing dangers.
First we need the dangers.
Oh, dangers first. Okay, right. Okay.
And we're picking out of creatures of the wilds make life dangerous for the city. Pick up to 2, and these can be from anything, any of those areas that we are aware.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, they burrow beneath the city, pulling buildings and people into sinkholes. That's a thing we talked about. Circle the sky, secretly plant seeds in the city that grow overnight. I mean, I already talked about one, so we'll just go ahead and formalize it. I mean, wrecking ships coming in and out of the harbor and traveling the river. I feel like we've got a couple of different water approaches, and with that, that's kind of leaning on what I said about the cliffs, but essentially like that the water is like you have to basically fight the tide that's pushing you towards the cliffs to get in. I think is good. Is a good danger.
Cool. And Richard, do you want to pick one?
Yeah. I think we have, I hate to double up on C, but let's double up on C. I think we have part of the burrowing beneath the city, pulling buildings and people into sinkholes. Let's just make it sharks.
Oh my God.
The sinkholes open up because of the mining, but occasionally tunnels flood, sharks come in and start pulling things down or people down. So we've got some aggressive, we got some like, they're not big sharks, they're just...
Well, I could see like sea tunnels where some pretty big... Say again?
I was going to say the reverse of a sand shark, which is a moderately big shark, but is really timid.
Yeah.
Smaller sharks,
but vicious,
really aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think they're clever. I don't think we have a lot of sharks on the planet Earth that we would call clever, but these are clever. So they know that like you can, they know that you can like weaken structures and eventually humans will fall through.
I mean, we could go the lens of like orcas. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's an intelligence there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so maybe it's not sharks, maybe it's dolphins.
But like war dolphins, orcas, or
we've got wild, vicious, human-eating dolphins.
I mean, or orcas. Orcas are cool.
Yeah, I mean, but also
yeah,
I can think of some like the idea that the ground beneath my feet could at some point, like the thing that I have on orcas right now is that I'm in a landlocked state. Okay, if that reality was taken from me,
we're finding the deep lore of why Sarah is living in Utah right now. Is a natural feel of orcas.
It's not unnatural. It is justified. Have you seen them? They're crazy.
I said a natural, not unnatural.
There we go. There we go.
And orcas are really just giant dolphins.
Yeah.
So I feel like I mean, this is also why outside of one trip a year, Sarah does not come to the East Coast and only comes to Philadelphia, which is on a river coast, not an actual ocean coast.
Yeah, we just wait till orcas learn about rivers, you guys. It's over for all of us.
The feared freshwater orca. Yeah.
Even more, what happens when they learn about tunnels?
Yeah.
I also like this.
Or when the Delaware River becomes so salinated that orcas just start swimming upstream
into the Great Salt Lake.
And suddenly they're just poking up above the Delaware, going, "Is Sarah here yet? Sarah here yet? Sarah here yet?"
You know, those notorious mountain orcas that follow the rainwaters down into the Great Salt Lake.
but water burrowing tunnel creatures is a great vibe.
100% it is.
I also just love the idea of like
there's animals competing for, or not, the animals and the humans are competing for digging these tunnels.
I mean,
or
maybe
exploiting them.
I think it's more that these killer dolphins have learned that if they poke at the right places,
they can break through.
We're
not making things better for Sarah.
They use that sort of sounding.
Yeah.
That dolphins and orcas use that, like they can break through, flood the tunnel, and eat up any miners who are in the tunnel, plus anybody whose building would sink in if the tunnel below it filled with water.
Realistically, what we've done is we've created a society that dug too deep, and instead of finding a Balrog,
they just found
they found a bunch of fish.
I also love that the best part is when people come to visit the city and are going down on adventures. There's a scene in the movie that does the exposition for all of this, where it's like, how would a name of vicious dolphin even get in here? Right as they break through a wall, it starts flooding, and they just go ape on that guy.
They just eat everybody.
It's like, how they introduce the entire concept of this is a thing.
I love it.
They're just like, tapping away at the walls, going like, well, we're too far inland for any like vicious man-eating dolphins to break. They're like mining stones out of the wall, and all of a sudden it just springs a little bit of a.
And they slowly look at each other, and then
and you start hearing song from the other end.
Subterranean orcapods? I don't think they really exist.
Also, I think we'd have to kind of land. Yeah, it is a rodents of unusual size moment. I do also think we have to maybe even almost land on a narwhal-like creature, because they need some sort of
tooth.
Can
it please be a narwhal?
They need some sort of tooth to pick through the wall with.
Like, listen, I would like to use our imaginations.
Yes.
In this moment, and stop relying on science to give us our critters.
So is it a narwhal orca?
I think it's a narwhal orca.
Maybe it has a little bit more of like a battering ram.
Yes.
It doesn't have that fragile horn.
There is a dinosaur that has like a bony forefront.
Yeah.
And I'm envisioning like a manatee like creature with a big maw, but with one of those like.
I need us to have a Venn diagram of a manatee,
narwhal,
orca,
dolphin, dinosaur. All right, chat. You heard the challenge.
Maybe something a little bit like a cross between a manatee and a rhino.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the sea rhino.
Yeah.
This is very good.
Wow. like the gentlest and the angriest of creatures
mixed together,
made into one. Yeah. Very, like if manatees ever got spiteful, we'd be screwed.
I know.
Like,
thank goodness they're just gentle babies. I love them so much.
Yeah, they are. They're lovely.
but one day they'll get tired of us like beating the crap out of their backs with boats.
Enough is enough.
That's
Here
right.
no further.
All right, I think reprisals is Richard and Sarah.
Yes, I've already selected mine because I think they gouged the earth with mines and quarries. Like it's right there. Like we just now it solidified in lore
that humans are like trying to stick it to the the narwhal orcas.
Well, and I kind of like the idea that some of the tunnels, like once we've mined out all of the minerals, that they're almost like set up like traps or like dead end tunnels to kind of like reroute the orcas or the creatures that we have manifested. You know what I mean?
Sarah's unlocking the secondary orca whale hunting like industry that's popped up.
The most dangerous game.
You go down into the tunnels, the flooded hunting.
Scuba hunting.
Or it's like, these boats that you lower down in there. What'd you say?
I was gonna say, Sarah, which one did you pick?
They gouge the earth with mines and quarries.
Nice. Okay. I think I'm going with they send hunting parties for prizes. Possibly one of the prizes is when things got really bad, or when the orcas piss off the wrong aristocrat. They hunt for that orca and give the temple will give permission to forge bones
from the
to forge or out of the remains of that creature.
Wow.
So a right not even afforded to commoners who can't own property, have parents, or get married.
Not my parents.
Okay, awesome. Then Tony, what is a thing that is rumored to exist in the wilds?
Yeah. Let's do it. Rumored to exist in the wild. We've got Cave of Gemstones, Cave of Wonders, Healing River, Atlantean Tomb, River Forgetfulness, Lost Shipwreck. We've already touched on some of these things. And I love that wherever this is, it's got to be. I think we've got to put this. It's rumored to exist in that the steppes area.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether it's there or not, that's where it's rumored to exist.
I kind of like the idea of, let me hit you with this: the clearing of life and death. Like the idea that like there's just like a magical spot in the steppes where the grass is slightly, you know what I mean? Like it's a subtle shift, but that's what makes it so fucking hard to find, and nobody knows if it really exists.
Yeah,
is it just blends in.
I like that, but I want to pick up on a thing that I think is going to be real central as a theme also too. So if we can pick more than one, I like.
Sure, yeah.
I like. Here's what I like. There is a river of memory and forgetting. Right?
Yes,
because I think that'll be good for our forgotten end of life stuff. I love the concept of it being like beyond the clearing of life and death exists the river of of thought, right? Like, or whatever it is. I love, right? Like,
I think that's sick. I think it's sick as hell.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. We have our natural world that surrounds the city that is really fucked up. So
later on, we're gonna be like, who built this fucking world?
Why did we do this to ourselves?
Like, you guys.
That's what I love about games like this, though, is like it's so fun to like you are essentially creating the world that later you'll be like, oh my gosh, we did it to ourselves. And I think there's like a special magic in that.
Yay. So, by the way, I've been going in the order that I see on the screen, but I'm not watching Twitch, so I don't know if it's the order that you all are actually in, but
it works.
It works. Okay. Sarah, what are things that people say about Atlantis? You can and pick up to 2. Or if you want someone else to do the second one,
yeah.
That's cool too.
Ooh. I'm trying. Oh my gosh, these are really good. Okay, I like the idea. One, they linked all beings alive and dead using the shared pulse called sorcery. I like the idea that like in our modern society, that's why we're so obsessed with like creating like these
bone.
differences. You know what I mean? Sorcery's
Oh.
forbidden. There is no
Uh-huh.
connection. We aren't the same. Like kind of tearing down that.
Mhm.
And let's get weird with it. Commanded powerful invisible beings.
Okay. Love it. Richard, what do people say that the Atlanteans were?
Oh. I think there are definitely like sects that would like to say that they're people just like us. But I
Mhm.
think almost everyone around here says they came from the depths of the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
So
Has a really different valence now than
yeah, and
yeah.
there's still that rumor that they still like live beneath. They've returned to live beneath the waves.
Spoiler
Are they?
alert, they're the orcas.
I was gonna say,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
And they've come back to reclaim their land.
Yes.
that's such a like like there that's
Yeah.
absolutely gonna be a thing. Like
Yeah. Wow.
even just a thing like we're hunting Atlanteans, right? Like just calling
Yeah.
I mean like
Yeah.
I think sometimes there might even be times where the orcers turn away. You know, they're about to massacre a whole group of miners or swimmers or whatever, and they
Mhm.
suddenly turn away, and then the person they suddenly turned away from suddenly is like the center of all these rumors about being secretly descended from the Atlanteans.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Like this total bitterness that they weren't killed by the orcas and
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
Marvel orcas.
and so like they get to start like weird little cults around themselves sometimes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, it's
Okay, cool. Yeah.
scandalous to not be eaten by the orcas.
Right.
They're deadly to be eaten by the orcas and painful.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah.
But to have the
Tony,
orcas
yeah.
scare you is sort of vaguely scandalous.
So you're really taking your life and your reputation in your hands when you go down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to ask some real questions about what you're willing to put on the line. You know what I mean? You can come back, but if you come back not dead, shit.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like with these tunnels, there must be a complicated lock system to try to drain some of them so that you can keep mining because the
Mhm.
I
ocean level
assume
is the ocean
also
level.
breakages are rare enough that it's still worthwhile to most people who decide to take mining jobs.
Yeah.
It's they've made it worthwhile that like it's willing.
Oh, sure. Oh, I'm sure it's
You know,
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's
it's both
really
lucrative enough, potentially lucrative enough, and also not so common that it's happening like multiple times a month. Like it's more likely to happen if like you, even as like, you know, oh, let's all break into one of the tunnels and see what we can find. Even that,
mhm.
I mean
uh,
I think even the modern analogy would be like it's like living in Florida. Like where
Yeah.
it's like you're gonna
yeah,
have to rebuild your
Yeah, it's
house
just
every so often. Like
priced into
yeah.
living there. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Tony,
Um
what do people say about the Atlanteans' origins?
these are all also really good
Um,
options. Their British Beast who gains speech is interesting given which I think is the thing people say when they talk about the orcas being related to them. I
mhm.
I I think we're gonna go with they stepped out of a delirious immortal's dreams, though. Like there is a god that is said to sleep at the bottom of the ocean,
Just dreaming.
who dreamed, yeah, and the Atlanteans were its first dream, escaped, and became the Atlanteans.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That's good stuff right there.
How'd I pick they were dead shades who escaped the underworld? The question then becomes, Sarah, you an Atlantean?
I'll never tell. Yes, I will. I'll absolutely tell.
Sarah, why do people say Atlantis fell?
Ooh. I'm reading through them really quick.
Oh, there's some good ones based on stuff.
There's some really good
I mean, they're all
ones.
good, but based on the riffs we've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but the gods changed them into unrecognizable creatures which limp on in wild places, shunned and speechless is pretty good.
That is.
Like, in my mind, the deep lore is that like somehow the gods tricked them to pass through the valley of life and death and drink from the river of forgetfulness, and they forgot who they are. And that's like, these are like kind of the shadows of what they once were, clinging to like these flickering memories of once they had. Like I just think that's so cool.
Can I pitch another one based on
yes.
what we've already? They trapped their entire civilization in interconnected labyrinths of their own design, which beckon us to enter. I think
yes
is a good play on. That's a thing people say as they're manipulating like the orcs getting trapped down below. Like that's a little bit of like, hey,
yes.
this is us mimicking that, right? Like it's ritualistic almost.
Yeah, I love that.
So I'm just going to mark both of those.
Yes.
After they drank from the river of forgetfulness, did they just like turn into orcas and swim away in it?
Like I think that there was like maybe it didn't immediately take effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like, I think the gods truly tricked them into doing this. And like by the time they had like returned home or whatever, that like that's when the changes had become imminent.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Right. Then we also picked 4 domains for sorcery and how it seeps through into the world. Richard, do you want to pick? So just like, from the Pantheon list,
oh yeah,
get one that hasn't been picked yet, so I can mark the ones that have.
And so anybody who's watching along, sorcery seeps in the world through cracks that the gods have left unguarded. These cracks determine the forms that sorcery takes. Pick one item from each list of immortal domains that is not already taken by a Pantheon member. So we'll pick a primary domain, a natural world, a concept, and mortal affairs for how sorcery incarnates within our world. Then there's a pick list below for some additional things sorcery does.
Let us do. Oh, for one domain of sorcery, let us say the domain of beauty.
Ooh.
Okay. Rivers, because without a river, like our island civilization could collapse. I mean, we're already very dependent on lots of things, like most islands, but we are super dependent on our rivers. And then
if you want to pass off, you can. But if
yeah, I was gonna say, and we just go straight down, much like we did first. So it's rivers. It's beauty, rivers, secrets, and music.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, awesome. And Tony, what are 2 things that sorcery tends to do?
Let me go back over. So we've got beauty, rivers, secrets, and music.
And then, yeah.
Sorcery. So the options are likes to lie, obeys the letter, spirit of the law, but letter of the law, but not the spirit, dreams distracted of millennia past, chooses its own timing, sometimes inconvenient, sows chaos in the world, seeks to inhabit a body, leaves its mark on the flesh, and drinks blood. And this is using source, like sorcery.
Well,
sorcery is a force. It incarnates, and these are the things that incarnate in manifesting force likes, right?
And yeah, like it's exactly its tendencies.
Okay. We gotta pick leaves its mark on the flesh. With those ones with like the carving of a river, like beauty, there's music.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then I think I like seeks to inhabit a body, but I think it's more fun to say obeys the letter of the law, but not the spirit.
Okay, awesome. I'm
So
gonna skip.
Fey-like.
It's very what?
It's very Fey-like.
Yeah. Okay, so right below that is the nearest Atlantean ruin, but we don't have to answer all these right now. They're put in the order that you might find them out as you got closer to a ruin. So we can leave this one till some other time.
I think let's leave it. I think I like the idea of like this is something that we discover along the way.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Then the next one is Death in the Underworld, and this is basically similar, where they're put in the order. The closer you get to the underworld, what you would find out. Sarah, you've been there, so I think you should definitely have a hand in saying what it's like. But there's also one that we can leave till it becomes relevant.
Yeah, I think we could start with like the first two, because I think that just like kind of gives it that ominous like
you've seen these places.
Sai remembers what it looks like.
And then when you get close to somewhere like that, it's like,
and like I feel like that's Sai's first memories of like becoming a revenant is this place, and so it's kind of burned into her mind. And like I happy to get input. The entrance, I'm like I do like the idea that it's just in one of the mines, like in some random tunnel somewhere, but I also kind of like the idea that it's actually in the waves. So when you like come up, you have to swim to the surface, sort of a thing, and like break through a actual barrier of sorts. What do you guys think?
I mean, I love in the waves because it means it can be in a lot of different places. Like, like it's way more amorphous at that point in time.
Let's do that one. I like that a lot.
Okay, cool. And then Richard, what does the entrance look like?
I think it's a ford across a cold stream.
Okay. It'll be really interesting to put that together with a place under the ocean and the surface of the sea. But I like that because we've got rivers and tunnels in here.
I think it's almost interesting. Like I know it says found. They're both entrance like looks and is found, but it's almost fun if like it depends on which direction you are coming from or going to, which one of these things.
Oh, interesting.
It is right. Like if you are coming from down below, like you're just coming up and crash. If you are, and like you just see people fording like next to you, going the opposite direction.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Then we have our world. Nice.
Excellent.
So then the next thing is to go back to our characters, and each of you answer one question from your list of world forces questions, right below the relationship questions. And Tony, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. After creating the world forces, answer 1 to 2 questions below. Who among the pantheon hates your patron? When did this start? Who among the city's proper cults seeks your destruction? Why? How did your patron protect you from a divinely sent plague? Why has your survival enraged death? I think we got a who among the pantheon hates your patron, and I think we are gonna just stick with my gut instinct. We're going Igdama Liege of Secret Tunnels because I think that's just real good with where we ended up.
Yes.
And all the different themes we've got running through that feels really strong. So I mean we've got to go with Bao, God of Searing Knowledge.
Yeah.
Hates my patron. When did this start? I think it started when there was a point in history when Bao was just one mind. And Igdama, when Igdama created the first secret and hid the first thing away, that Bao has split themselves into all the insects in the world looking for that first secret. So this is a from time immemorial. Bao has been plying about trying to find this secret, trying to make all knowledge known again.
Ooh.
And Igdama has since then secreted away numerous things from Bao, but it is that initial secret that caused all of this to break down.
And that Bao is still searching for the initial secret.
That first secret, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
And
that's
so
great.
Which I mean, then I think also answers question 2: who amongst the city's proper cults seeks your destruction, and why? Also, too, would be.
What are Bao's pronouns? Is it they them?
I think I like all. Like,
ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much any, but like it is a they are all gender expressions.
Yeah, nice. Love it. Okay, cool. Sarah, what question do you want to ask?
So I'll read the 3 and then I'll talk about the one that I want. So the first is, a member of the pantheon helped you escape death. What did you do to make them seek your destruction? Who among the city's ruling class will never accept your new body, and why? And who did you leave behind in the underworld, and what pious person is using them as leverage over you? I love the first one, that like a member of the pantheon itself helped me escape death. I'm torn between Shara and Nuska, and I'm just like, I feel like, and like, what did they do? What did you do to make them seek your destruction?
Yeah, like they helped you out.
Yeah.
Why do they hate you now?
Yeah. I think that okay. I think that like it was Nuska, the goddess of light and color, and I think she I think I've disrupted a balance of some kind by being here. I think that like I like in a very like Jedi way, like I was supposed to bring balance to the Force, not destroy it. Like there's something there that has happened that has caused her to regret this choice.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, I'm gonna think about that. That's
Yeah, whether it was like I was gonna get an upper hand on one of the other gods or like something, right? But it's just it didn't go her way.
like maybe whenever somebody is released from the underworld, somebody else has to take their place,
Right.
and the wrong person went down.
Yeah, maybe it was like one of her favored subjects. Like she wasn't able to control who was taken.
Like maybe they wanted some god to go down instead.
Yes.
Like
yes.
and their beloved went down.
Yes. Yeah.
Oof. Okay, it's trapped down there now. Okay, awesome. Richard?
So my three are: who among the city's wealthy wants to exile you from the city? What did you steal from an Atlantean ruin? And what forbidden place did you once voyage to? And I want to focus on who among the city's wealthy wants to exile you from the city. What did you do to them? And I think this may speak slightly to Sarah's last question. Who did you leave behind in the underworld? But I think Bardumu, one of the elders and, a member of one of the powerful families, looking forward, like has many ancestors with bones still in distribution, wants to exile me from the city because I took one of their acknowledged children to sea.
Oh.
And they died.
Oh no.
At the same time Sai did. And possibly Sai, that is who is left behind in the underworld.
Interesting.
And so Bardumo is threatening me with expulsion from the city.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. Cool. So thou hates Donna for hiding secrets. And Sai's release from the underworld resulted in one of did you say Niska or Shara? Niska.
Niska helped me out, but by doing so, like disrupted the balance. And maybe she's just embarrassed because like that's her whole shtick.
Or maybe she was like playing games with the balance,
Yeah.
and it came back to bite her.
Yeah. And like however you want that to be reflected, I will roll with. I'm so excited.
Okay, awesome. All right. So the next step then, the last step in the sort of pre-game stuff, is, do we have time for it?
Yeah, we totally do.
Okay. Is a world scene where you all pick one of these 5 world forces, 3 of which we've outlined in detail, and then each of you chooses a member of that force to play out a scene with, and we'll just decide on a question first that we want to answer, and then when you have answered it, I'll call the scene. So it could be council members in the city. It could be literally the gods. It could be animals in the wilds. It could in fact be the plotting of orca narwhals. It could be something that happened back in Atlantis, back when they were still around, that will turn out to be relevant in our present day. But which world force is singing to you all for to pick.
What do you guys think?
Or what are you leaning toward? You know.
I was fixing a technical issue while we were explaining that, so I'll let somebody else pick.
I am
Richard,
leaning
what you got?
towards the city.
Me too. There we go. Done.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So like the rulers of the city?
I was thinking of something possibly on the street around the elimination of our neighborhood. And
Oh, maybe at the brothel. Like it's like a scene at the brothel, sort of a thing.
possibly at the coffee brothel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But also possibly are they moving the brothel before they move the actual residents, because aristocrats.
Oh, so the rulers, yeah, or the
aristocrats
stuff done.
Yeah. The aristocrats go to the brothel and they don't want to be disturbed or have their services disrupted by
They're like,
having by the eviction of an entire neighborhood of people.
we like that place.
Yeah.
Let's not mess with that place.
They're trying to gentrify our brothel. How dare they?
No, they're trying to relocate our brothel.
That's true. That's true.
And okay, so
what's gentrification when instead of moving in, you just move the
Yeah, you just
the
pick it up and
brothel.
lift it.
Yeah.
This is ours now.
Yeah. So they're essentially taking out the one thriving business in the neighborhood.
Oh, wow. Okay,
The
so
one reason people come to this neighborhood other than to get illicit.
Ooh, what if oh my gosh. Okay, what if there was like a meeting of the elders and the like interpreter, maybe like one of the elders owned the brothel and the coffee house and was like kind of like more soft-hearted towards the community, right? Like we like that guy, he's cool, but in one of the latest interpretations, the ownership of the brothel was transferred to a more skeevy, militant elder. And so it's
perhaps
a who?
Bardumu, the one who wants to exile Callum. Okay,
Ooh,
yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah,
so
okay.
like now this council member is, you know, it's the brothel is under new management.
Under new ownership anyway.
Yeah, like literally,
yeah.
and so it's impacting the way that they do business, and like they are looking at like having to move given like the property owner exchange of some kind.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so like so now Bardumu is saying, no, I'm gonna mine in that place.
Ooh.
Fuck the brothel. Like,
or why did I relocate the brothel to somewhere where I have better access?
Yeah.
So then we've got this pillar of the community, the flute boys and flute girls, who are like basically okay having business with Bardumu. So it's like, I just don't want to get into realms of like these people who hate Bardumu having to have sex with him anyway, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's more. What if it's more like because like I'm trying to think of like I'm thinking of it like almost like a zoning issue, like because Bardumu now has like ownership of like the business or something like that, that it is relocating to a more convenient location, and like he doesn't actually want anything to do with the brothel. He just knows that it's Callum frequents it, and if he brings that business into an area under his control, it will be easier to like get to Callum.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we should play the scene to answer the question. What is the question? And is this the people working at the brothel who are meeting, or is it elders who are meeting to scheme about this property graph?
I think it should be the elders meeting to see like what was really said in the meeting. Like we know what was interpreted, but like What was really said?
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Cool. How do you two feel about that?
That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Richard, do you want to be your own baddie?
Yes. Yeah, I will be my own baddie.
Awesome. And names are hard, especially Sumerian names. I have a huge list, but like I don't know how I share it with you. I could just copy the
it's
whole
all
thing.
you could one pick. Also, if it depends on how important any of the NPCs. Right. So like we can name a role, which does not mean that's the entirety of that person's identity, but for the purposes of playing this game, it is.
Also, we can pick other names we didn't use off our character sheets.
That's true.
Also, that's
how
good.
Dare.
How dare.
That's how I got Bardumu so quickly.
I was like, that's good. That sounds like
that's really good. Chrys, I will ask you because I think in the scene I would like to be the like
the nicer one.
The nicer one. Like in my mind, she's like a sweet lady who's kind of like maybe aging out in her role. And is a kind of like I'm thinking like a Ruth Bader kind of character. Like she's hanging in there, but she is slowly losing ground, and that's kind of what this is. Give me a name that you think is that good vibe.
I think it's Simusa.
Simusa, perfect. Tony, do you want to be the interpreter?
The interpreter?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're the one who ducks into the council chamber once in a while and like, tell us people outside what actually happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
And somebody do me a favor, give me the 30-second frame up of the scene one more time.
It is a meeting in the council chamber where it is said later by people on the outside, this change in ownership of the brothel area happened from Simusa, who was always soft in that neighborhood, to Bardumu, who's like, fuck it.
Gotcha.
And Simusa is kindly and old and hanging in there, and Bardumu is young and strong and an asshole. So Tony, you're the interpreter. Well, you could just pick a name.
I mean, I think Station as name is great for this type of role. Like I don't think
that's good.
We don't need to give this person the dignity of an actual identity.
Okay, awesome. Then I guess it starts with Simusa and Bardumu.
Yeah. I think
it's part of the freewheeling conversation.
I almost wonder if it's like Simusa is trying to represent the best like the interests of that area. With the mines ever growing, it would just be very beneficial, I think, to that area if we could divert some resources to shore up the buildings, particularly the brothel.
We could also move the brothel to a different location. One closer to the High Palace, the temples, the areas frequented by the people that the brothel serves.
But is it not of the community that it belongs to? The people who work there?
The people. The brothel belongs to those who can afford to use it.
I find this surprising, as you have typically been against the relocation of the citizenry, more just that they be removed. It's interesting, your vocabulary seems to be expanding.
I am strongly in favor of removing those who are less productive in the work of the city and giving space and comfort to those who are more productive to the work of the city. Thus, I think the brothel should be relocated to a location in which we can help esteemed visitors and the highly born members of the great families to avail themselves of it, to smell the roasting of the coffee in the mornings and the grinding of the.
What kind of grinding are you going to go with?
We got this far, Tony, before you broke down.
Sorry. Look, if you hadn't paused, I would have been fine no matter what direction you went. It was the stumble that did it.
We do not need to make it. We can provide housing to those who work in the brothel, so that they are able to live near its new location.
I'm assuming you have an idea of where you would like to place the brothel?
There is a old grand palace that was once owned by the high priest of Shara, in the shadow of Shara's temple.
Hmm.
And Tony, you could be part of this.
No, I know. So I think all of a sudden we just hear like, this is like I think an antechamber to the whatever. We hear like the doors to the actual like room where the elders debate like open up. The high cacophony as the interpreter comes out with like a long scroll and starts like posted up on the wall and starts doing kind of what looks like sacred geometry, but is also just a lot of blackout poetry. Like at the end of the day, to the text in the background, also too. Ready to make today's proclamations and interpretations of the most recent discussions for this third of the day.
It is, of course, not the only brothel in the city. It's the more esteemed, and we need to be bringing the esteemed services of our city to where the high citizens and our welcome guests can use them. What we don't need is to require that those of high station and esteemed visitors be wandering the streets of our low quarters, fearing their life among the riffraff.
I would remind the esteemed councilman that while I am not long for my position, the brothel does in fact still remain one of my esteemed properties. And while you are suggesting a move to benefit the deserving, I would like to know what would be in exchange for such a thing, as you wouldn't want to be seen in the eyes of the god of commerce to be dealing with an unequitable deal.
Well, now that we are talking deals, I think that it is time to lay all the cards onto the table. I would propose that in return for the surrender,
exchange,
in return, the granting of the brothel's properties and licenses and trademarks onto the Temple of Shara, we would, of course, take responsibility for the sinking streets of that district. And ensure that the councilwoman's citizens are comfortably relocated, that we would take responsibility for any crime that occurred in that neighborhood, and for the collection of taxes, the distribution of charities, and the adjudication of complaints onto ourselves and our family, thus relieving you, who are soon to be without position, of responsibility for doing those things. For all property is granted by the gods to those who are given the burden of caring for it.
Tony, I can't wait to hear what you actually write up as the proclamation.
Yeah.
I have one other piece that my little old lady will kind of close out on, and it will be, I would make an amendment, a small one, to what you ask. As you know that I am fond of, there are many things that I'm fond of, but one of which is balance. How about instead that you take stewardship of these areas? But as you know, the divine parade marches ever soon. Perhaps the council, as we make an appearance and participate in this event, the true owner of those properties, while you may hold them and maintain them, but they shall be bestowed on whoever catches the light during the parade. I'm afraid I will not accept anything other than that. If you are truly deserving and chosen of the gods, then this should be no problem for you.
My character stops scribbling and just waits intently and kind of hangs on your response. Tries to look like they're thinking, but is obviously just listening in.
So the first person to capture the light of the divine parade shall become the new owner.
Yes, as I have no heirs and my bone line is soon to be diminished with my passing. You know, I'm ever so fond of games.
I shall, of course, happily adopt any commoner on whom that light falls into my own line.
I believe then we have an accord.
We indeed have an accord.
Yes, Tony.
You hear them like clear their throat, and they like do a few final calculations as they go. Yes, the council has deemed that he starts he just rifles off a couple of other like random things, but there will be times where he reads a full line, and then times where he rotates the scroll numerous times between words, goes over a few kind of nonsensical proclamations that don't that y'all can't really parse or gather any sort of information from. But then it's says and so scroll it shall be that divine parade determines ownership and he looks a little bit down, and like it's obviously he's splitting pre out of a different word. The prefigured individual illuminated by those walking. And then like makes a like more fluid like kind of formalizing everything y'all just said, and then like clips the portions of the scroll out and like transfers them to another piece of parchment so that they're all like lined up loosely, and then holds it out, obviously waiting for whichever one of you is going to pay him for the privilege of having determined the outcome of this thing based on the elder's insight.
So I want to understand what it is that you just said.
He's just he basically just listened to everything they were saying and affirmed it by gobbledygooking a bunch of different words together.
Okay.
Sometimes it was half a word thrown together when he really couldn't figure out how to make it work otherwise. And now he's basically willing to give the formal proclamation to whoever gives him money, which is a second level of interpretation and enforcement.
I hold up a gilded-edged, highly lacquered and polished coin and say, "From the thigh bone of my fourth spouse's great-grandfather," and I name off some forgotten family or some well remembered but and revered but lost family that has since gone extinct. For your services, interpreter.
So to make sure I understand correctly, is it kind of like the proclamation goes to the highest bidder here?
No, but ownership of the so like I think even
Hey,
like ownership of the proclamation, right? So like since it is a bit of a word salad, it is that I mean like there is notation that has been added to create a little bit of clarity, but only enough to track everything together. Then whoever would have it would be able to reference it, and whoever didn't have it would not be able to reference it.
And I think just because I think it's interesting and that there's like kind of lost knowledge here that like really that the ownership is temporary until after the parade. I think when Samusa goes to like kind of like offer a different price, she is overcome with like a almost medical emergency and is therefore unable to intervene in the ownership of the proclamation.
Love it.
Okay, awesome. So Bardumu gets the proclamation, and it's lost that this is only until the next parade.
Until the parade, in which case ownership of like the area could be returned. It's just like there's this challenge if nobody knows about it. If there's a race and you don't know that you can run it, you know.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I think
there's
lovely.
a small side scene in which we see Bardumu slipping a very small, like a small value bone coin to the person who's been filling, the attendant who's been filling.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah, that's good. Not surprised at all.
Very, very good.
Okay, that's a good scene right there. So that's everything, and I think it's a good place to leave it. And
yeah, this is so fun, Chris. I'm so excited to play this game.
Really excited.
It's so messed up.
It's so messed up and weird and wonderful and beautiful all the time with our weird bone money and our used to be sentient killer orcas.
And this labyrinth of flooded tunnels underneath the island that may or may not have evil orcas, vengeful orcas swimming through them.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much.
Yes,
and chat, thank you for hanging out with us. Just as a reminder, you can go to ttrpg.link/DefyTheGods to check out the Kickstarter. You can back it. You can make your own weird upside down world with your light gods and your bug money. So please go definitely check it out. If we have a couple of minutes, we can kind of
Could do stars
talk,
and wishes.
Yeah, stars and wishes is exactly where I said it.
Since typically we just do a little interview, but we're actually going to play again.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we agreed we will be playing again in 2 weeks on the 14th and 16th of May to kind of see where these characters go at the same time, same place. I'll go ahead and go first. My stars, I think, was I love how quickly, like once we started establishing things about the world, how it just all started to click together. Like it felt, and even adding like a new element like sorcery is like invisible people, like that still feels like it's, the world is well defined but still has so much mystery in it. And I think that that can be like a hard thing to like, if we're all in on the secret, you know what I mean? Is it really a secret anymore? But there is enough ambiguity between how this all fits together that we can be surprised with like what you, Chrys, like pull out of the ether here. And so I think that's really wonderful. And then any wishes that I have, oh gosh. I'm really, I don't know. Like I guess wish wise, like having the wilds like play a big part in this would be so cool. And like not only like the threats, but like the far out locations, seeing how they kind of come into play, like that's really exciting to me. So those are my stars and wishes. Richard, do you want to go next?
Yeah. I think stars. I so many stars. I'm especially in love with the city. I think possibly more than any other element. I'm profoundly in love with this city. Having lived in many beautiful, glorious, and like, you know, deeply problematic cities, I really love this one. And I think wishes. I really want to see city politics. I would really wish that we could see a few city politics play out at the more local, neighborhoody level. I want to see the personal get political. So,
stars for me. This is really from a design standpoint. It is really hard to a lot of like I regularly, especially when trying to share with people how excited I am about this game, have heard a lot of people be like, I tried PBTA, it just didn't work for me. And I think a lot of that comes back to like keeper guidance, keeper advice, knowing how to run a session 0, and a lot of the stuff that like there was a lot of assumption that people could just do in some incarnations of different PBTA games. The levels of structures that you're providing in this are really great. Like just as a world building fun, like look at what we have made game. One of the hard things in there is providing a good mix of like, this is evocative and direct and is going to give you enough things to be gameable, and like not putting everything on a railroad. And it was really fun to be like, there were ideas we had that each of the prompts we were looking through became like clarified. And sometimes that clarification was reinforcement, like, oh, we're going to go in heavier on this things. And sometimes it was like, oh, that actually feels too easy given this, right? Like, there's one where it's like, cool, we've done a bunch of bone stuff. And then like the options for the Atlanteans were, there were like a number of bone things in there. And it was like, we could have picked any of those and reinforced that theme. But it was like what if we play against this, but go with something else that our brains have come up with that is reinforced by this? So there was like a consistent way in which the prompts and the narrative that we were actually coming up with at the table, like, we're really good about reinforcing. That's a really hard spot to hit in writing prompt tables. It was fun to do, right? And we haven't even really gotten into what a lot of people would think of as the play, but I think it's giving people what a lot of people don't get about how to step into this setting and embody it. And so just like real kudos on that. Sarah and Richard, you're both fabulous also too. That scene was super fun. Like I was like, I don't need to this is perfect and wonderful. And I'll do a dumb little, what does this actually look like, you know, when someone does it. And it gives us a fun artifact later. Like we've got this little MacGuffin proclamation running around.
Yeah.
Just a fun little sense of the exposition of the world. Like it's good. I love that. I love like all the little beats that Chrys, you put in here, but like the going through that scene, Richard, watching you like Weedle is this like baddie, and then Sarah like being this like sort of woman, like were super enjoyable. But I was just loving everything everybody was picking up and putting down. My wish is very specific though. Sarah, I want to know what happened to the bones in your original character's body.
wow.
I love that.
Given what that signifies in this culture,
Yeah.
and they may still be in you, right? It may just be
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah.
like it is interesting to think about for me.
Am I missing any of my bones?
Are you missing any of your bones? Are you counterfeit script running out there? Were you well known enough that you are your previous life? You were, remember,
Right.
there's a lot of fun. I'm curious what's going on
Were
with
you
your
an
bones.
aristocrat in your past life?
Yeah.
Like,
ooh, yeah. Like here's the thing, Chris, I put that fully in your hands because Sai doesn't remember.
Right.
Sai wouldn't know.
But I'm telling you, Chris,
so,
that I as a player do want to know what happened to those bones.
I want to know.
And any answer is fine, but I do want to know what happened to those
gosh.
bones. And
that's
so,
very sad. Wow.
I just love at a critical moment, like, oh, you discover you
Yeah.
are missing those bones.
You're getting paid in your own bones. Like,
oh gosh. Can you imagine? Oh my God, a scene where the two of you, at least Tony, you claim to remember who I am, that we're like dealing in like the fraudulent money and someone tells my story back to me that I
So
can't
good.
remember and you guys are experiencing
Yeah.
that.
Like I said, that's why I'm like,
holy
there's so many
shit.
good bone avenues for your
Mhm.
and you don't get to say those words about every game is all I'm saying. Like there's
Yeah,
so many
buddy.
good bone avenues in this game. So
not very often you get to see your own bone money come back round.
yeah, but
That's right.
I'm always like, I feel like bonds are oftentimes either doing too much or too little, and this was such a good sweet spot.
Well, that reminds me, and we can do this async, but you all should give each other 0 to 2 hearts based on the questions that you asked.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, so they're like bonds. They're like heartstrings in Thirsty Sword Lesbians, where the person who has the hearts is the one with the power. The person who gives them cares what that person who has their heart thinks about them.
Okay.
So it is something that at the beginning of the game you're granting freely for somebody to be able to use for your benefit or against you, or to just tempt you to do what you want. But that as we play, you may sometimes again give your heart freely to one of the NPCs I'm playing or to one of each other. But you also have a move for winning hearts from somebody despite themselves, Entice, just like in Thirsty Sword Lesbians, where then you get some of this currency that you can use. So that'll be interesting to see.
Cool.
I already know my answer if I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Because it would be 1 heart to Callum for sure. Because like I don't remember. But 2 hearts to Tony. Do we have a character name for you? We still
Yeah, so I did get one. I got there. So I may be mispronouncing it in Sumerian. But we're going with Dumu, which so one of the options is an empty name, and Dumu just means child in Sumerian, right? So it's a good year to follow. It's also like a good Igdama, and then like Dumu being the child is like a good linguistic flow also too. So DUMU.
And so then Richard and Tony, you're the ones who write those down on your sheet. That you have 1 or 2 hearts from Sai. Dumu, also shortened from Dumuzid, who did have to go down to the underworld half the year. Anyway,
oh my gosh, beautiful.
Yeah. Who wants to go next?
I mean, I think it's pretty easy for me also too, and that I would, because of the amount of trust that I have in them, I think that I am giving Callum 2, and then because of the uncertainty of having failed to protect somebody, we'll give Sai 1.
Nice.
I feel like I'm giving Dumu 1 because I'm uncomfortable with Dumu's trust.
Oh, interesting.
Love that.
and I'm giving side 2 because of my feelings of guilt.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I fully appreciate that side does not clearly remember what happened.
Somebody not being mad at you doesn't mean you don't feel guilty about harming them.
Yeah. I'm assuming that Sai actually remembers and is giving me a second chance.
Well, and then of course, not being mad at somebody doesn't mean you can't take advantage of their guilt.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Sai, you now have,
A little bit of leverage. Yeah. Whether I know what that's about, I can still use it. Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome, you all. That's everything.
Awesome. Chrys, you got to hit us with your stars and wishes, buddy.
Oh, okay. All right. So much good stuff came out of this. It almost feels disloyal to pick any one, but I the Orca Narwhals are my standout. Stars to that. That idea that you all kind of came up with collaboratively, that are swimming through these tunnels that have it in for the miners. I think that's all fantastic. Wishes. I also, by the way, just love the light festival. I think that's fantastic. That's just really sweet. Then I'm also interested in seeing the interaction of politics between what's happening at the council, which I think, Tony, did you call it the high cacophony?
I did call it the high cacophony.
So
I think
is beautiful. That is so good. And politics down in the low quarters. And I'm curious about that tower, and like I want to follow up on that sometime. There's so much I'm curious about this world. The enormous wall of cliffs out at the edge of the world. The other islands that probably don't like this one very much. So trade and travel and all that. Anyway, much to get into.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, I will say also too, as a Richard, stars to like just picking egg also too, because it was like arguably there's not always a right answer when you're dealing with prompts. It's all just narrative. Egg was the right answer then, and you just nailed it. That's a sincere statement. Like it sounds dumb, but I also like it was the right choice.
100%. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us. Go check out the Kickstarter page at ttrpg.link/DefyTheGods. Also, here at +1, we've got a lot of cool stuff going on with Zine.Club. Tony, can you tell the people about the zine?
I can. If you're a member of Zine.Club, then you already have probably in your hot little hands, it's already on its way to you, a copy of one or both of our games this month. We have Machine Impossible, which is the biggest game we've ever released through Zine.Club. It's 68 pages of creating a city that you love and then pulling off cyberpunk hijinks in it to save that city. It's a little bit more hopeful than some other cyberpunk. This game got brought in fully by the folks over at Smiling Mythos. Total incomplete game. It's one of the crunchiest games we've ever put out. It's part of our adventure thing this month. There is a lot of like building really great combinations with the different powers that you pick for your spy, and some really satisfying tactical things that you can do in that. So go check that out. You can also buy it standalone if you're not a member of Zine.Club. The other game that we have for our story game this month was Ball Game, which is by Finch Edmonds. It is a mix of Blaze Ball, if you're familiar, along with kind of the Savannah Banana inspired absurdity of that actual baseball team. If you don't know what Savannah Bananas are, look it up. But you're going to pick from a couple different wacky teams, and you can play through a single game or an entire season of absurdist setting baseball in just a few hours. And I'm super excited about it. I want to see an entire season in play. I'd love to get an AP of that at some point. But it's just a really great creative writer, and the art and the layout in that one absolutely slay also too. Just really gorgeous work. by Bree and Emily, the creative visual team on that project. So just really loved seeing those two projects come out. And there's a bubblegum bookmark in Ball Game also that has some special custom moves you only get with the physical. Also, Sooty Beards just finally arrived. It's a little bit late. It's a system agnostic setting that you'll be able to add on to Zine.Club orders next month, or you can order all those games standalone at +1exp.com. If you're going to be at PAX East, I'll be there also too with those titles and a number of other ones. Or if you're going to be at the South Street Festival in Philadelphia this weekend, we'll be there too down near Queen and Rook.
Awesome. And with that, because we still, to this day, don't have an official outro, we're just going to wave at the camera until we disappear. Bye, everybody. We hope you enjoy your pizza.
See, you said that, but I control disappearing. All right.